Hi, this is Laura Sanchez, and welcome to episode 2 of Booksmart Equestrian, a weekly series that comes out every Friday morning that talks about interesting books I've read about horses. So anyway, I know that I said last week that I was going to be talking about the hunter book that I'm reading, about how to train and show and judge hunters, but I haven't finished it yet. It's been a really busy week, and part of the fun of this week is that I've been to some really good parties and political events, political fundraiser. I've been working hard, and I've been doing a lot of riding. So I have to actually say that today, I had to get up super early in the morning and shovel, and while I was shoveling, I listened to Jockey World Radio Network, an episode about Jacinto Vasquez and his feelings about ruffians. So that was pretty great, but it tuckered me out. And then I rode both Rennie and Violet. So I'm a little bit pokey slow. And so instead of talking to you about that hunter book that I haven't finished, today I'm planning on talking to you about Charles Portis's True Grit. So, alright, there's so much to say about this book, True Grit, and about the movies. True Grit, the contemporary one by the Coen brothers, and then the original one with John Wayne. So I've seen both movies. Obviously I own this one, and I've seen it many times, and I've seen the original several times now. Okay, so what can I first tell you? I'm going to start out with something not very pleasant. In 2010, the worst thing that has ever happened to me happened. And I'm lucky. My family and friends were very good to me. But what happened was I trusted people I shouldn't have trusted. And a mare that I really loved, Rennie's mother, I sent her away, and she ended up in an auction. And luckily she was rescued by a really decent person. And I went to see her, and I got to see her in January of 2011 and see that she was okay. But let me tell you, the day that I found out that had happened to her was truly the most mind-blowing day of my life. And it made me realize that even though, I'm kind of a tolerant person, and even though I let there be shades of gray in the world about what values and morals people hold, it turned out I had some black and white core values. Core values about being an honest person and about caring for animals. And I felt like such a horrible person because I hadn't protected Haley. So, that's the context. With that context, I found out in late November, most of late November and December, I was a total raging maniac. I was just like getting so... And this movie came out. So I went to the theater alone in January to see it. And let me tell you, it was exactly the tonic I needed. This is a movie and a book that it's sensational for its voice. And so in this book, Charles Portis is writing the story from Maddie Ross's point of view. And she is a young girl who loves her family and her father and believes in the black and white justice of life, that you are either, as she would say, trash, or that you're trying to do right. And so I loved her voice, and many people say it's kind of like the female version of Huck Finn, and I have to say that I kind of agree with them. I thought it was just terrific for it. So anyway, let me kind of give you an example. I thought I had one here, but I might have kind of screwed this up now. I just took the book out. Oh. Ugh. Oh, there was a little fun section I wanted to read to you about her just getting lunch, and her talking about after lunch she wanted to take a nap because some people don't realize that if you don't follow the calling, you're going to be dead before 50. And so she has like this strong little kind of social judgment about everything, including napping after lunch. So I kind of love that about her. Just love it. But anyway, so her father is murdered while he's trying to go and buy these ponies. They're hoping to make a business where they breed these kind of rangy ponies. And so he's murdered by one of his employees, and she wants to seek justice. So she's a very black and white, judgmental, justice-seeking girl. She believes in retribution. And the punchline of this book, I know there's many different ones besides the one I'm about to tell you, but one of them is that you should seek retribution, but if you get retribution, you should be ready to receive divine punishment. So that's what happens. She gets these friends who are loyal to her and devoted to her and help her. And they're a motley crew. And they all end up getting a punishment for helping her. and they take it. That's what you're supposed to do. You got to do what you got to do. So you can bet I loved the book because of the message. And again, it came at the right time. It kind of gave me permission to appreciate that my core values had been violated. So I'm talking stronger than I should, but there you go. But anyway, so what about horses? Well, you can bet that horses are integral to the story in so many different ways. It's kind of hilarious. And so you have the Rooster Cogburn, the U.S. Marshal, and throughout the story he's riding a big red American stallion. It's probably a quarter horse. And then you have the kind of beat up, run down, kind of almost defeated Texas Ranger who's going around on his last burned out fumes. And he's got himself a scrawny, wiry Appaloosa, a tiny little scrub of an Appaloosa. And then you got Maddie Ross, who, one of the funny parts of the book and in the movie is her getting, selling the ponies, the herd of ponies, back to the man who had sold them to her father. And then, once she does that, at kind of a profit, buying one of the ponies so that she can go to the Indian country with the U.S. Marshal and the Texas Ranger. So she picks out a little brush pony, a little black one, and she names him Little Blackie. And everything about her and the pony is so sweet. She talks to him about what they're doing, about being on their adventure together. She takes apples for him, and you can tell that she's just like any little girl at all with her pony. She kind of counsels with him when she's feeling low. She talks with him, and through the entire book, he shows his loyalty to her, his bravery, his commitment, and his fidelity. It's just amazing. It's a really good story. So anyway, if you've seen it, you know what happens. He does a really good thing. So the movie's terrific. I can't get over it. It's a really good movie. You'll enjoy it. But I have to say, I don't normally say this. The ending of the original John Wayne movie is better than the Coen Brothers ending. It departs from the story. The Coen Brothers stood pretty close to the story. And so in this one, it ends with Maddie Ross talking about why, as a grown woman, she's never married and what she's learned from her adventures in life. But in the John Wayne one, you can't have that. And so in the end, it ends with John Wayne in the family cemetery with Maddie Ross. And Maddie Ross is being bossy and showing John Wayne where he's going to be buried right next to her. And John Wayne goes, "Well, I ain't dead yet." And he takes off his hat and gets on his big red American stallion and he jumps a 4-rail fence. And so through the whole movie they'd make this big punchline about how he's too old and fat and drunk to jump his stallion over anything. And so at the end of the movie it was a hoot to see John Wayne jumping a 4-rail fence. I loved it. And I thought that was a good way to end it. I ain't dead yet. Okay, that's all I got. I encourage you to see it. You would really enjoy it. But most importantly, if I were you, I'd read this book. And if I were you, I'd buy it for every single niece and young girl you know. This book is the Huck Finn for girls. It's terrific. You take care. I look forward to talking to you next week. And I hope that maybe you email me or tell me of a book suggestion I should have. Lots of love.